Well, let's talk now to Peter Zalmayev, who is director of the non-profit organisation, the Eurasia Democracy Initiative. He joins me now from New York. Thanks so much for joining us here on BBC World News, Peter. You have interviewed Marie Yovanovitch, haven't you? And you know her quite well. Talk me through what you make of what's happened over the last few days.
Yes, I have known Ambassador Yovanovitch ever since she was appointed about over 2 years ago, slightly over 2 years ago. Have interviewed her on several occasions and have always been struck by her diplomatic skill, by her dedication to her job. And by all accounts, she was a very good and earnest diplomat. Now, from the testimony that we heard today, which I thought was very bracing in its sheer courage that she showed, unlike many of her other colleagues, she fell prey to the shenanigans coming from the White House, specifically on the part of Donald Trump's personal private attorney, Mr. Giuliani, to try to get some results, to get some pressure against Mr. Trump's main political rival, Mr. Biden, and pressure the ambassador into doing so. When she did not go along with the scheme, they essentially got Ukraine's former prosecutor general, Mr. Lutsenko, to open an open war against the ambassador. And that has been going on. That had been going on for several weeks, and it was being commented in the Ukrainian press. And so finally, she was dismissed. And as we heard today, she was dismissed for very, very political reasons, not because of any ineptitude or incapacity to do her job.
So what do you think happens next then in all this?
Well, I think there are definitely more shoes to fall. We are hearing that Mr. Ambassador Song, the U.S. ambassador to the European Union, will testify. And then there's Fiona Hill, who was Donald Trump's national security advisor on the region, on Russia and Ukraine. I also know her. She's a stellar and very solid professional, expert diplomat. She is said to be planning to do a very similar testimony to Mr. Ambassador Yovanovitch. And essentially, she will say that from the very beginning, Mr. Giuliani has engaged in a shadow diplomacy outside of the normal protocol. And what we got in the end was an illegal process.
So what do you think this means in terms of the likelihood of impeachment of the President of the United States?
I believe that the impeachment is almost becoming a necessity for the Democrats. And now the question is whether they will keep the impeachment inquiry narrow in scope or broaden it, as some of the critics now of the leadership in Congress are saying that they should do. So the Speaker of Congress, Ms. Pelosi, is facing a serious decision to make. But I think the impeachment will go ahead. And I still think that the Republicans in Senate will vote against the ouster of President Trump. But it's also changing. And the public opinion, which is very important, is swinging firmly in favor of impeachment and Donald Trump's ouster.
OK, Peter Zalmayev, thank you so much for talking to us on BBC World News.